So I was born and raised in Abilene. Grew up in a small church. We were there every time the doors were open. My dad was a deacon and then an elder, and the internet was just becoming a big thing as I was growing up into high school, and then it really exploded as I got into college. And this deep-seated sexual addiction that I had begun to develop, this addiction to the lust of my flesh, was so deeply rooted that the internet just gave me unbridled access to whatever depravity I had, and it just became where it was never enough. It was always like I was looking for the new thing. And my early 20s, I had developed erectile dysfunction because of my pornography use. When I met my wife, I was just in the throes of addiction. Developing a relationship with her, getting married, having kids, I just lived two separate lives. We were heavily involved in our local church, but I never could get rid of this addiction. We got in the truck one day, and my phone connected to Bluetooth. Had my wife and my daughter, who was about 2 or 3 at the time, and my son, who was about 6 months old. And the last video I had watched started playing over my Bluetooth speakers in my truck. And of course, it was a video connected to a pornography website. And so there was no denying it at that point. She knew of my addiction, but she didn't know how to handle it. Every time she would ask me about it in the most loving way possible, I would lie to her, tell her, I think I got a handle on it, I'm doing well, no issues. But at that point, I knew it all just came to a head. We walked into Beltway just a few weeks after this had happened, broken, looking for answers. My wife was hurt. She was dealing with the betrayal and the natural emotions that comes with finding out your husband has this secret life of being addicted to pornography. So when we walked into Reengage, one of the very first testimonies we heard was a couple up there, and the guy was just brutally honest about his own sexual addiction and the way that it affected his marriage. And it was the first time that I'd heard a guy speak very openly and honestly about pornography. It stirred something inside of me that maybe there is hope. We had done a small Bible study just between Aaron and I through Covenant Eyes, where we were able to answer questions through the app on our phone. And we never had to discuss it in person, but we were able to discuss it. We could see each other's answers. And one of the biggest things that I took away from that Bible study, one of the biggest things I took away from having the discussion with my wife, was the need for Christian accountability. And I had always thought that accountability meant that you had somebody watching over your shoulder. At the time, this app that I had on my phone gave Aaron a 100% view of every single thing that crossed my phone. Screenshots, everything I typed, phone calls. She had access to it all. It was just, I just wanted to be completely open, take the one thing in my life that was where I accessed pornography and just get it to where I wanted to get rid of the access. And so she had that app, she had access to that. And what I realized and what I've discovered over the years is that Christian accountability is a dialogue. It's a dialogue between two believers who, when I gave an account for my sins, she would listen and she would give an account back to me of grace and love and mercy. So we spent over a year battling that together. Falls here and there. Every time I would confess to her, she never responded the way I expected her to. She never walked out. She never yelled. She never screamed. She always responded with grace, love, and mercy. When we finally got the chance to share our testimony at Reengage is when the world of this ministry kind of opened up to me. That night after we shared our testimony, we were inundated with couples that came up to the front afterwards. Couples that came up front and said they wanted to know how. They wanted to know what were the steps. What did they need to do to start finding that hope? We just started meeting with guys in my garage one-on-one, and it slowly developed into a group of guys. Just sharing our stories with each other and just understanding that the accountability that we have day by day is based on that conversation. You share your sins and struggles with me. I share God's hope, God's grace, God's mercy with you.